Comments in C++ are important in object-oriented programming for several reasons. For one, they enhance code readability by explaining complex logic and design decisions. 2. Comments facilitate collaboration among team members by providing context and explanations for class structures, methods, and their purposes. Thirdly, they aid in documentation, describing the functionality of classes, methods, and their relationships within the object-oriented programming paradigm. Finally, they help in debugging and maintaining code by providing insights into the intended behavior of objects and their interactions. Remember, effective comments in object-oriented programming should focus on explaining the why rather than the what of the code, as the code itself should be self-explanatory through proper naming and structure. The first set of comments I want to show is the program header or the file description comments. These are used when applying comments where you give the program file name, the person who wrote the program, the date the program was last updated, a brief description, and the inputs and output. Next, let's look at our class definition. In this simple program, there's a class called calculator, which has private and public members. It has one private member variable called result. It's a type of integer, and we comment that it shows the result of the calculations. Then there are several public members. First is the constructor function. It has one comment that initializes the result as 0. Now, more interestingly, are the other functions like add and subtract. You'll see we have quite a bit of lengthy comments for each of these functions or methods associated with the class. The function name is essentially a repeat of the header for the method. A description is a prediction of what or why we wrote the method. The parameters, so a and b, are now descriptive names. We just have a as the first integer to add, and b as the second integer to add. You may want to consider renaming parameters like num1 and num2 to be more descriptive. They also list preconditions and postconditions. This is very important. One of the assumptions coming in prior to the method being executed, and what is the state of the result after it has been executed. Finally, this is the simplest example. You can have inline comments in the line of code here that print the addition result. This is self-explanatory. It probably doesn't need this comment. But as an example, this is how you would use this combination of inline versus multiline for the entire methods. In conclusion, here are the key points about commenting best practices in C++ for object-oriented programming. For one, use program headers for overall file description. Secondly, add function headers for detailed explanations. Finally, use inline comments sparingly to clarify complex logic. And again, remember, effective comments in object-oriented programming should focus on the why within the what of the code, as the code itself should be self-explanatory with proper naming and structure.